You own a piece of land, right? The land goes all the way down to the center of the earth, all the way up to the end of the infinity. And somebody builds a house on it. Now you call that real estate because it has an improvement on it. Okay? It has an improvement on it. You put a mailbox on it. Now you have a piece of real estate. Then, and this is kind of tricky, and it's kind of a shame that it's the first thing that they throw at you. Then you have real property. Real property is the land, the real estate, and any interest you may have in that property or rights that come with ownership. Okay, that would be real property. So land, real estate, and real property. Real property would be the land, the real estate, and any rights you would have. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the rights, but an example would be, you have an example of rights?
Your subsurface rights.
There you go. So you may own a piece of real estate, real estate, but you may not get all the rights that go with it. Because, for example, you've heard of oil and gas rights. There's the rights down under the ground. Remember I said you own down the center of the universe. Well, if you own those oil and gas rights underneath, you can sell those rights to somebody else. They can own the oil and gas rights, and you own the rest. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And we're going to get into the rights a little bit more. So, real property rights, surface rights, subsurface, air rights, and water rights. So, when you own a piece of real estate, so Stavovi's own this golf course, the Stavovi family. They own the rights in the air. Now, why would it be important to own air rights? Well, what happens if you were building a condo or a skyscraper that's going up? So those are the real property rights. Surface rights, subsurface, air rights, and water rights. Now, you don't hear too much about water rights around here, do you? I bet you ain't none of you has ever had a conversation at your kitchen table about water rights. But you ever watch one of those old westerns where water's scarce out west and the creek went down through the property and they would kill each other? The neighbors would kill each other over the water. So out west, where water is scarce, water rights are a bigger deal than they are here. But they are a big deal here. Because if you own property abutting a lake or a river, you may have some of those water rights. So again, land, the real estate, the physical improvements, and the real property is the bundle of legal rights. Now, when we say bundle of legal rights, I'm big on props here. That's how I love it. Oh, by the way, I think I do a good job. Here's a little tip jar.
It's very small.
Put big bills in here also. So, in the book, it talks about the bundle of rights, doesn't it? Does anybody understand any of that concept? Explain it to me. Anybody have an idea what the bundle? Give me one of the bundles of rights. Who said that?
Me.
What did you say, Squirrel?
Possession.
Possession. Okay. So here's the bundle of rights. I'm gonna come down around them. And there's one of the rights you get with real property is possession. And I even have them written on these sticks. Possession. That's one of the rights. So, can I break this bundle up? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. So, let's say Lexi wants to rent from me. And I own all the other rights. I can give Lex the right of possession. She can live in the house. But I still have the right of enjoyment. Enjoyment. I'm going to trick you with this one. Anybody know what the right of enjoyment is?
Lexi can't tell you what to do with your property.
There you go. It's not that you can sit back and drink beer and smoke Cuban cigars. You're not enjoying it like that. Somebody else can't come in and tell you what to do on their property unless it's something tied with the government, with an ordinance or zoning or something like that. Okay? Exclusion, you can keep people off, right? That's one of the rights. You can dispose of it, you can sell it, and you can control it. So these are the bundle of rights that come with the real property. And you could sell, convey, lease some of these rights out and still keep some of them. Does that make sense? So sticks. Bundles of rights. Let's talk about surface rights. Natural resources, subsurface rights. Natural resources below the Earth's surface. When I first got in the real estate business, they weren't a big thing. There was coal rights. I've heard of people selling the coal rights, but I never heard of anybody selling the oil rights. But now, oil rights are popular in Western Pennsylvania because there's a lot. Anybody know anybody that has oil and gas that they're making money off of? Okay. I bought a piece of property on Charlie's Road up by Smithton by that new power plant. You ever see that gas power plant up there? I didn't want to buy the property. I was forced to buy it because we sold it and I knew that power plant was coming in, but I wasn't the agent on the listing. The guy bought it, found out the power plant was coming in and said, Tom, you knew that power plant. See, the brokers are responsible for all the agents and all the agents' actions. So after drinking a bottle of homemade wine, I called the guy up the next day and said, I'll buy the property off of you. If you're unhappy, what do you want for it? I'll buy it off of you. And I bought the property off of him. And I rented it out for a year. When I bought that property, I got the oil rights. I kept it for a year, rented it, and then I sold the property and properly disclosed, and I kept the rights. Do I make a lot on it? No, $100 every couple of months, but it's $100 every couple of months that I get. I can take my wife out to dinner. So you can sell or keep coal rights, natural gas, and there's other rights that we'll talk about. Let's talk a little bit about mine subsidence. Let me see, I have some handouts too. And Cindy, God bless you. Cindy, she broke her wrist.
Still comes to work.
She came to work that day. She came to work that day. Andrea, can you pass this out to everybody?
Yeah.
Give everybody one. This is a cold notice that is in every deed in the state of Pennsylvania. Seneca. Are you getting, is this starting to be now a little bit more exciting than at 9 o'clock this morning? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it the way I'm teaching? Does it help stick a little bit?
Comparisons help me a lot, like when you like compare it to something like they did with the
Okay,
man.
okay,
If it's reading the book, just don't care.
yeah,
Like
but-
when I have something to like compare it to in real life.
right, okay. And I try to make it fun and exciting, a little bit, you know? Okay, so this is a cold notice, and this is in every deed in the state of Pennsylvania. And what this states is that when you buy a piece of property, they wanted this, and this notice is in red, that you do not, this document, the deed, that's how you convey property with the deed. We're going to talk about that. May or may not convey the coal rights or subsurface rights. They may or may not. But so what is mine subsidence? Can I have you do one other thing? Can you pass this out, please, these fixtures for me? Has anybody ever heard of mine subsidence? So most of western Pennsylvania has been mined out. Okay, meaning there's coal mines underground. And there sometimes the land collapses, creating sinkholes. And there's some properties on Route 201 right now. We're selling one of them, going from Kmart or where Kmart used to be, let's say Walmart to Fayette City. On the right-hand side, we have a little ranch for sale there that had mine subsidence. And it gave way to subsurface support. You can buy mine subsidence insurance through the state. It's very reasonable. It's $1 per thousand. So for $100,000 of insurance, costs you $100 a year. But everybody doesn't get it. Does anybody here own a house? Put your hand up. Okay. Does anybody here have mine subsidence on their houses? See, a lot of people own a house that don't have mine subsidence on it. I don't know why. Maybe they don't think it's important. But I've seen enough properties collapse that I always suggest to my clients that they get mine subsidence insurance when they buy a property. Because you don't know what, and they only sell you the insurance if there's a mine under your property. They have like a map. So let's talk about personal property. It's all the property that does not fit the definition of real property. Get back to real property. Remember we said real property was the land, any improvements, either natural or man-made. So if there's a tree on that property, that tree is considered an improvement. It's considered a real estate. And then there was the real property, the bundle of rights that go with it. So personal property is anything that doesn't fit the definition of that. Anything that doesn't fit the definition of that. Could be a TV on a wall. It's not a TV sitting on a dresser. It's not permanently attached. Could be the couch. Could be the fridge. Could be the stove. Those would be considered personal because they're not permanently attached. Now, and I'm jumping around a little bit, but that's okay. And we'll get to the other handout that I handed out to you. Then there's factory-built housing, mobile homes, and manufactured homes. So you could have a mobile home on the real estate, but it's not permanently attached. And it could be considered personal property. You can take it with you. You can take it with you. Manufactured homes. Paul, we talked about this in Paul Kelly, in one of the Zoom study groups that we did, didn't we?
Yeah.
So while we had COVID, I had some people that were taking online classes. Paul was one of them, right? And then, so I did about 8 Zoom study groups because it wasn't socially acceptable to do a class yet. And we talked about the difference between a mobile home and a manufactured home, right? So a manufactured home has non-removable steel chassis under manufactured home, steel chassis. It's a minimum of 8 feet by 40 feet, 320 square feet. Capable of living in without a permanent foundation. And it contains a red label indicating compliance with the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Okay? That's a manufactured home. Even though it's still a mobile, it's kind of confusing, ain't it? But just remember that the manufactured home is manufactured off-site and then brought to the site. Does that make sense? On wheels. Now, sometimes they can take the wheels off. Real estate brokers may legally sell or resell of mobile and manufactured homes if the following conditions apply. See, because we have a license to sell real estate, not personal property. Even though sometimes personal property is included in real estate. So, if somebody has a manufactured or a mobile home and they have it on a leased lot, we can sell it. We can sell it. If it's permanently attached to a foundation. You ever see them? Where they bring a double wide in, a single wide, and then they put it up on a foundation, they get rid of the wheels and they permanently attach it, we can sell it. We can sell it. Or if the registration as a vehicle has been canceled, we can sell it. So we sell a lot of manufactured homes because in this area, sometimes some of the parks, Port Royal, people have a manufactured home and they're leasing the land. They don't own the land. We can still sell it because there's a lease attached. Sometimes it's on the guy owns the manufactured home and the land, and he has a foundation.
Before you get started, I'm gonna head down to the office.
You gotta keep everything together.
Yeah,
Said by Cindy, because some of you have met her. In my organization, she is the office manager. A lot of real estate companies have an office manager, not all of them. And she is the smartest person that I have ever met when it comes to contract law, keeping agents out of trouble, telling them what they can do and what they can't do. She's the best. She has attorneys call her for advice. So she's fabulous. She's fabulous. It's a tough job because she's in the trenches every day, working with with the challenges of selling real estate. But thank you, Cindy.
Thank you,
And
Tom.
thank you for everything.
That's fine. You'll enjoy the class. And then we'll get together.
See you later.
All right, Tom.
So real person's versatile property. Real estate is the land and everything permanently attached to it, right? Personal property are movable items not attached. If you were selling a farm, it could be a tractor. A fixture are items of personal property converted to real estate by attaching it to the real estate with the intent that it becomes permanently part of the real estate. Do you think the intent was for that ceiling fan to become permanent, part of this real estate that they bought it there? Yes. When the Sabobis bought that fan at Lowe's, that's where they bought it, and they brought it here and they permanently attached it, they meant that to be part of the real estate. They meant that to be part of the real estate. Just to let you guys know too, I always run hot, so always bring a jacket or a coat or something. And then there's what they call trade fixtures. Does anybody know what a trade fixture is?
It's like a tenant uses it for their purpose, but when they move, they have to take it with them. Like a trade fixture is something that like you could take with.
A trade fixture is something on a commercial lease that the tenant puts in that's permanently attached that they could take with them after the lease.
The shelves at Giant Eagle.
What's that?
The shelves at the supermarket.
Yeah, or the gas pumps. Or Lexi works at Snowball's Hair and Candy Salon. And they have shampoo chairs that are permanently attached to the floor. Boy, you get your hair done there, don't you? Haven't you sat in that shampoo chair? It's got plumbing coming up to it. It's permanently attached. But since it's a commercial, when my wife, if she ever leaves that spot, she can take it with her. Because it's a trade fixture. That ceiling fan, if they sell this, they can't necessarily take it unless it's in the agreement that they can. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a second.
Could I ask something?
Yeah.
So trade fixture is basically just used for businesses.
Always, just business.
Okay,
Just
that's
business.
what I was getting confused.
Just
when I was
businesses.
reading it.
Just businesses. So trade fixtures, the courts have three basic tests to determine if a fixture is real property. So do you think sometimes somebody buys a house and the seller takes the ceiling fan? Hell yeah. Do you think sometimes they take the bush that was planted out front? Yeah, they do. Do you think sometimes they take the carpet? Yeah, they do. So in a case like that, the courts would have three basic tests to determine if the fixture is real property. Okay? One is, what was the intent? When they put that in, was it intended to be permanent? One is the method of annexation. How was it attached? Okay? Now, I don't think these curtain here, they're not, there's not a curtain here. This is inside the window. But how was it attached? How was that attached? That was permanently attached, wasn't it?
Yes.
What was the intent for that? To be part of the real estate or personal property? The table. What was the intent of the table? Personal. Okay. The adaptation to the real estate, and then what trumps everything is the agreement. So if you look at that handout I just handed out to you, what is a fixture? The method, was it permanently attached? And how do you pronounce that word? Adaptability. Has the item been made especially for the property? The relationship in a dispute about fixtures, the court will favor the tenant over the landlord, the lender over the borrower. So sometimes the relationship, the intent, but the agreement is usually the clear thing. So could he sell this property and take that ceiling fan? How? If it's in the agreement. Then it's clear that the ceiling fans be included. We're streaming. Are we streaming this live to YouTube?
Yeah, it's on right now.
Okay, so we're streaming this live to a YouTube channel. That if anybody wants it afterwards, we'll give you the YouTube channel.
It's our Howard Hannah Simon one.
Yeah, it's for a real estate company that's not affiliated with this class. But we have some stuff on that YouTube channel for pre-licensing. We have some pre-licensing study groups that you can go to recorded. And we're experimenting right now with streaming live to YouTube this session. This way, Ellen ain't got nothing better to do tonight. And she may just want to listen to parts of the session. You know, so we're experimenting with that. I don't know of any other person that does that. Are we going to be able to pause this for lunch break?
No, we'd have to end it.
Okay, so I'll try to go to the end of the chapter before we quit. So trade fixtures owned by the tenant for business use, they are removable. They're personal property, and they can be removed by the end of the lease. If Nina doesn't remove those shampoo chairs and the lease is up and she leaves them there, then they become part of the real property. Does that make sense?
Isn't there like a 30-day window though?
Not that I'm aware of. If the lease is at the end of the lease, if the lease is terminated and the tenant left those there, they become part of the property. They become part. Agricultural is personal property. Chicken coops, tool sheds, they are considered personal property. Okay. We talked about the bundle of rights: possession, control, enjoyment, exclusion, and disposition. Anybody have any question on those? Okay. You guys are going to kill this already. Let's talk about some characteristics of real property. And we're almost done with this chapter. We'll take a break. So, some characteristics of real property. There's economical characteristics and there's physical. Economical is scarcity. Do you ever hear the saying, they quit making land? So that creates value. Another economic, I would know all these too. You build a house on it. Is it worth more?
Absolutely.
That's an economical improvement. Permanence of investment. And area preference or location. Area preference or location. Even two lots side by side in a plan, one lot may be preferred over another lot because of the location. For example, maybe you have two lots, and I don't have my stuff right on here. But the sun comes up on the east, right? And maybe when it sets on the west, it shines on this lot longer than it shines on that lot. Well, if this person's a pool person, they may want that lot because it has more sunlight. So even two identical lots aren't identical, are they? No. Then there's the physical characteristics. Immobility. Can you move it? Can you move real estate? No. Now, you can move a house. I've seen one moved. But typically you can't. Typically you can't. Indestructible. Indestructible. How can land be indestructible? What happens if they dropped an atomic bomb on this golf course right now, today? We weren't here.
That's quality improved.
Would that destroy the land? No. Why? Land goes down to the center of the earth. And it goes up to infinity. So you can't destroy it. Put a big hole in it, crater, but you can't destroy it. It's indestructible. And we talked about uniqueness. Lexi will tell you that every piece of real estate is different, even if they are beside each other. There's something unique about every piece. Every piece. And it could be that the way the sun. Laws affecting real estate. Okay? That's why you need a city, because there's a lot of different laws affecting real estate. And a good office manager, regardless what company you go work for, will keep your butt out of trouble. There's contract law, there's general property law, there's agency law, there's real estate licensing law, there's federal law, there's federal, state, and local tax laws. There's a hell of a lot of laws, aren't there? Zoning laws, land use laws, federal, state, and local environmental laws. Ain't there a lot of laws? Sure there are. So your rights are not absolute because of the government's laws affecting the property. Okay, so that's the end of the first section. So my job is to help you guys pass this test, right? So I'm going to show you, some of you are probably smart. Some of you guys are probably smart. I am not. I am not. And Lexi will tell you that. And Barney will tell you that. I'm not. So this is what I remember. Lauren, my job is to help you pass this test, right? And starting today, you have to make a commitment. Now, hopefully, you make a better commitment than my first wife did. Okay? And you're committed to that thing until you pass your test. But when you're studying, okay, your brain only can absorb so much. And then, even if you're still studying, it doesn't absorb it. They say 45 minutes to an hour is about the time. So, what I don't want you to do is try to study for 2-3 hours at one time. Because you ain't nothing going to sink in. It's all going to run out. Cut your studying into half hour, 45 minutes, no more than an hour, and then walk away from it for a little bit. Okay? And it'll sink in, and you'll come back fresh, and you'll come back absorbing the information. They say another thing is first thing in the morning and last thing at night. So last thing at night, whatever you think about kind of sticks in because it sinks into your mind. So it's not minutes on it. You don't have to spend. This isn't like start today and study, but you have to every day touch it. And you know what? Anybody got a job in here? Put your hand up. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard if you got a job, and if you got a job, kids, and a husband, or it's hard. So, but you have to be committed. And I'll help you. I promise you. I'll help you. So let's do this. Let's take a 10-minute break. Now, just to let you know a little bit about the schedule here, we're going to be going from 9 till 4 every day that we have class. If there's something that I feel that the weather is going to stop us from coming, like my wife was bitching at me this morning at 8:15. She seen the Bell Vernon School District had a delay today.
Canceled.
Canceled. She said, "What are you going to do with your class?" I said, "It's too late. We're going. We're going in." So I very rarely cancel the class the morning of, but maybe sometimes the night before, if there's a big storm coming like there was Sunday night into Monday, I would have probably canceled Monday. So you look for those texts. I'm gonna send it from that app I have. I'll say it's coming from mostly Tom Simon. I'll put Tom Simon on the top. And then if you want to reply back to me, reply back to me personally. You don't have my cell. Okay? They don't have lunch here on Tuesdays. So we're gonna take a lunch break of a half hour. If you want to go off site and grab something, don't wreck and kill yourself coming back. Okay? But I want to say a half hour, and if it runs over a little bit more, that's fine, because we could be studying in here as part of the class. And then at 4:00, we'll cut out. If you have to leave a couple minutes early, I think you only need 80% of the class, according to the state guidelines, to have your required time. We'll be okay. Plus, if there's a reason, we can always give you some extra work to do at home. Okay, so don't stress out. You're gonna come late. You texted me this morning, Christine, huh? Hey, I'm running late. Don't, you don't have to text. You don't have to stress. Take care of your life and then get here. I won't say, Christine came late. I'm put her knocker for 10 minutes. Okay, I won't do that to you. Okay, but if you miss a lot and you need some extra help, I'll give you extra help. Okay, that's like a fair deal. Okay, bathrooms are out here around the corner. If you smoke, go outside and smoke. Take 10 minutes, and then we'll jump into chapter 2.
I can end this one.
I have a question. So I'm not in like